Good morning. Welcome on into the Parents vs Gaming podcast. This is our last one for the year.
Well, I mean,
And
throw in for the year. Come on, you
yeah, for the
you
year.
you made it sound like it's our
Yeah,
last one
I
ever.
know. It's our last episode for the year. Before we decide to take a break for the holidays. As life has gotten away from both of us, and we've been very crazy busy, stressed, ridden with anxiety. So I am Kia Kane, and I am joined here with my other host, James the Third. And yeah, so take it away, James. What do we got going on?
So I want to give a little bit of housekeeping notes before we kick off on our final episode of the year. Um, so Parents vs Gaming, we have a pretty good plan. We're going to do a lot of recording over the live broadcast on Kia's Twitch channel. So you might see us on a Sunday evening record 3 or 4 episodes, but we're super excited to interact with chat. I know Adsy's always around. There's a couple other people that kind of jump on in your chat, so it's always great to get live feedback from them and have some debates with them, which is great for our podcast. But we're probably going to record anywhere from 2 to 3 to up to 4 podcasts each time we go live, maybe once or twice a month. So it kind of gets ahead. So if you're watching these on YouTube and we're wearing the same clothes, that's why.
Yep, that's why we're recording.
But a lot of our stuff is static, right? So if we do a podcast about the mental health of games, it's not necessarily urgent. We're not usually keeping up with the live, up-to-date news right at that moment. There's tons of channels out there, IGN, kind of funny. There's a lot of stuff that do live up-to-date. So if you needed news that way, they do it bigger and better. There's really no reason to retread any of the stuff that they're doing. We are revamping the look of Parents vs. Gaming when we come back in the new year, so that should be exciting. I believe it will be the second or third Sunday, so not the 8th. So the Sunday after that is when we will start recording again, and we'll be live on Kia's channel. I believe that's the 16th, 15th, or 16th, somewhere in there.
I think it's the 16th because the 8th is my birthday. So
Oh, happy birthday. I'll be flying back from the Bahamas on that day.
oh,
I mean, it's a work trip. Don't get too excited.
I know, right?
Some things.
It's the 15th. I'm sorry. It is the
15th.
15th. Okay.
So some things to expect. You're going to see, like I said, a new look. We're going to start putting timestamps into the podcast. So for those that jump on YouTube or the audio, you can jump exactly to what topic you might want to listen to, which is going to be a lot easier for some of you. We're going to put a little bit more into the intro and the outro, add some music, try to make it a little bit fancier as we continue to grow, going into basically our third year of having Parents versus Gaming.
That's crazy that's been 3 years.
Yeah, almost, yeah.
That's
It was
crazy.
like the summer, almost 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. So
Yeah.
summertime, I think we hit I guess is it 3 years? It might just be 2 years. I could be losing my mind here.
No.
Math is hard when you're old. We try to subtract numbers, so I don't know why I'm trying to add numbers, but we will look to hit our 100th episode this upcoming year. So super excited about that. Obviously excited to have Kia here. Now, of course, this is the main podcast. Well, not main podcast, but the original podcast from the company Last Choice Network, which myself, Kia is a big part of, and Ender helps run it with me. We have a number of other podcasts at Two Dudes That Game. We've got Kenichi Yeehaw, which is an anime podcast. We've got a horror podcast, which they keep telling me they're revamping and they're going to come back in 2023, especially with things like Scream. Just getting announced. Scream 6, I think, just dropped a trailer. Halloween finally ended with Halloween Ends. Thank goodness. And
Are we sure? Are we sure?
I
Even
don't
though it
know.
said
It's
ends.
probably going to keep going. Who knows? It's a cash cow, right? So, and then
It
of
really
course some
is.
horror video games came out with Callisto Protocol and the new Dead Space remake.
Yes.
So I'm excited for them to discuss some of those things. We've also got our Last Choice TV Reviews podcast, where Ender and I go in and watch TV shows. We've got The House of the Dragon, and we're working on Winchesters right now. We've also
right.
got the 614 and Beyond, which is an Ohio sports podcast, mainly focusing on the Blue Jackets and the Ohio State Buckeyes. So hopefully some more news to come from Jason over there. I know he just did a pretty heartfelt episode about losing a friend when he was younger, and a lot of people asked some questions about that, and he did an entire podcast breaking down who this friend was and the relationship and what everything happened. It was a tough listen, but it was a really, really good podcast. And our
Okay.
newest podcast that has been added to Last Choice Network is Death on Destination, where I do have a couple of travel advisors. They talk about famous deaths at
Oh
tourist destinations,
yeah.
and
I need to listen
that's
to that one
it
because I
is pretty
really want to
interesting.
like I love stuff like that. So I
Yeah,
really need
it's
to like
almost got
I
like
need
a
to get
true
in there.
crime feel to it, but it's not over the top like a true crime. I mean, they wrap things up.
Yeah.
They're 50, anywhere from 20 to 45-minute long episodes. So
Yeah.
it's not something that's a true crime podcast that's going to drag you out for 9 episodes. They start and finish each case per podcast, which is really really cool. So
Okay.
their own take on that kind of thing. So, like I said, you're going to see a lot of visual changes. We're actually going to revamp the website. I'm going to have someone work on that with me to have a little bit more momentum on there. So you'll get bios and headshots and pictures of everyone that's involved with Last Choice Network if you want to learn a little bit about
Nice.
us. Of course, continue to follow Kia over on Twitch. She is our most consistent streamer. The rest of us, we attempt to stream. I am on Facebook Gaming, so you can find me, James the Third, on Facebook Gaming. You can find Ender, who typically streams either on Facebook or he streams live on the Last Choice Network YouTube channel quite a bit. He does some Warzone on there, so you get to know some of us quite a bit on that channel as well, depending on what podcast or the live episodes that you want to watch. So that is Last Choice Network in a nutshell. That's kind of the housekeeping of the day and get everyone pumped and ready for 2023. For those that do watch and listen to the podcast, please don't forget to download any of the audio podcasts. You can find any of our podcasts on any audio platform that you prefer. If you're on YouTube, a like, a comment, a share, hit the bell, subscribe, all that. It really, really does help the channel grow. We have not done a ton of promotion, and to see it go from 0, I think we're up to 73 subscribers on there. I know that that's
That's
really
awesome.
small, but without, it's basically all organically. I mean, you throw out maybe
Yeah.
15 of our closest friends and family, so a little over 50 people that we don't know that organically have found it.
Yeah.
Kia, funny story on our Two Dudes the Game podcast. Ender was actually
Yeah.
walking into a grocery store a couple weeks ago and
Yeah.
heard my voice and was super confused why, because I don't live near DC.
Yeah.
I
You
live in
guys don't
Texas.
yeah.
And he walks up to a car, scares the crap out of this guy, because Ender's a bigger guy, right? Like, I'd
Yeah,
freak
Ender's a
out.
big guy. Yeah.
And he's like, hey, that's my voice. And this random guy was just listening to our podcast.
That's so
Yeah,
awesome.
so
That is so
yeah, it's
awesome.
really cool to see the growth. So we're excited to hopefully promote a little bit more, get our name out there. And I
Yeah.
know we're not IGN or GameSpot or some of these top places, but we love what we do. We love the passion that everybody puts into
Yeah.
this. We're super excited, and any kind of like, comment, anything like that is always going to be grateful, super appreciated. And it is true. I know you hear these people like, subscribe, comment, share, blah blah blah, hit the bell, turn it on. It helps the channel
Yeah.
grow. And I'm laughing to myself because I look at their channel. They've got that video alone's got 1.3 million views. And I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my
it's got
goodness.
like a gazillion
I'm over
reviews.
here excited
Yeah.
when our video hits 50 views.
Yeah.
So, like I said, anything does help get people to watch. It really, really is cool. And if you have different things you want to see, we are really open. A lot of those big channels, if you throw a comment down there, you might occasionally get a response. But if you comment on any of our YouTube videos or audio podcasts, we're going to mention it. If you
Yeah.
don't agree with us and you want to really debate something, put your comment in there. We will bring it up. We're not running away from anything. Obviously, if you're being hateful, racist, anything like that, we're probably going to delete and ignore. But the basic
Yeah.
common updates and debating on what you agree or disagree with, we're always down for that, and we're going to acknowledge anything that comes through there. So we're super excited. But today, for our final episode of the year, it is December 15th. So this will go live probably later today. We want to give parents a last chance shopping guide,
Yes.
right? It's the last
Yes.
choice. It was your last choice to listen to something because you're bored. You don't want to. You ran out of other stuff to listen to. We understand that. So here at Parents First Gaming, Key and I want to break down kind of a last week's guide to maybe finding your kid or a young adult the new game or what's hot, maybe kind of a new system or a subscription service if you're talking about Xbox Game Pass, what it works on, what it doesn't work on. So I will jump in with Kia first. And Kia, go ahead and give me your first couple of games you think are must-buys right now.
Games? And we're talking about for
Games or
children, right?
systems,
Not
whatever you
not
think.
like games for children. Okay. No. Honestly, you can't ever go wrong with any type of Mario. for kids. You really can't. Um, Man, I'm trying to think. Because I haven't really kept up to date with a lot of the newer children games.
And it can be older.
Um,
It can be older kids too.
yeah.
Maybe
So I
maybe a grandma or
know,
grandpa's got to buy a game because they got a
right?
gamer in the family that's 18 years old or 25 years old.
Yeah.
So I know there was a big game that just came out on PlayStation not too long ago.
Yeah, God of War Ragnarok just came
Hmm.
out. And I'm like, oh gosh, I would like I love PlayStation. I really do. And everybody here knows that. And I'm just like, I want that game so bad.
You
And
got
I'm
what, a
on
year and a half
PC.
before it comes to PC?
I know, right? And I'm just like, oh gosh, I hate that because it's like I really want to play it. And it's so funny because I was watching one of my friends. She is a big PlayStation. She streams from her PlayStation. So that's what she games on her PlayStation.
Mm.
And I love watching her play. And she's a variety streamer just like I am. And she's a mama just like I am. So like I love hanging out with her when I can. And she's in Canada, so time zones are different. So it's easier sometimes for me to like hang out in her chats. And she was playing God of War Ragnarok, and I was like, I want to play God of War.
Yeah.
Like, and it just brought it back because God of War, the one right before Ragnarok, is actually on PC now. And I've been like, it really, like, it's on my wish list because I'm like, I want that game so bad for my PC because I want to be able to play that game. And so, like, watching her play Ragnarok made me want to go and buy it immediately so I could start playing it again. I
And
was
that's
like,
the
no,
God of
Kate, that's a
War, what,
bad
2018 version, right?
Yes, yes. Which is actually very beautiful
Hmm.
game in general. So definitely worth it if you have a person that is into stuff like that. It's definitely worth the buy. Um, if you're wanting for your younger kids, honestly, anything Mario, Zelda, anything like that is gonna be like really good
The new
for your
Pokemon
kids.
games came out for
Um,
Nintendo Switch.
Yes, that's right. The
So,
new Pokemon games just came out. That's another thing I will say that if you're looking for kids between, I don't know, seven and older, I would say probably the Nintendo Switch is probably a good option. It's
mhm.
something I'm looking at for getting for Kane for Christmas as his big present. Um, but I haven't decided yet.
You know what's funny
Okay.
for me?
We have a gaming issue here in this house.
Yeah.
All of us game. So we have multiple consoles. We have two PCs. So it's like, it's like, do we really need another gaming
Yeah, of
thing
course
in
you
the
do.
house? And I'm just like, but it has Mario. It's,
Yeah, of
it
course.
has Mario. I want Mario. Like,
Mario
I want
Kart,
Mario for
Mario
myself.
Odyssey, Mario Party, all great games. For
Yeah.
for my son,
So,
he's a little over 2.5. He'll be 3 in May, and
yes.
he has been playing on Melena's iPads quite a bit. Or he's always like, I want to play a game. I want to play a game.
No, you
So
got a
he's
little
super cute.
gamer. That's so.
But so he is getting for Christmas. I almost bought him a Kindle Fire for
Okay.
kids,
So
right?
I want to know why, because I personally prefer the Kindle Fire. So I want to know why you decided to not go for
Okay, I
it.
talked with Ender for a long time.
Okay.
And the Kindle Fire for kids is really great.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Amazon games have a ton of ads. Tons.
What the
And
free
there's
ones? Yes.
and there's no real way to buy the ads away. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
super
true.
annoying.
Yeah.
So Ender said he started to get one of those and he knows all his tech stuff and his kids' toys. Like
Yeah.
he used to run a testing YouTube channel for kids' toys. He said he ultimately just went with the iPad because the Amazon device just runs out of content and the kids are bored too
Okay.
quick. So you spend less money with free games and stuff on the iPad than you will on Amazon. You got all your free stuff, but then you start buying stuff and it just
hmm
runs out of content where the
Okay.
iOS store has just like the Android store. I mean, you could get an Android tablet, probably the same
Yeah.
same type of deal, but Apple's a little bit more user friendly
Yeah.
as far as putting on restrictions for kids and stuff like that. So
People say
we're
that. I still can't figure out Apple to save my life. Give me an Android. I got that shit on lockdown. Give me an Apple. I can't figure it out. I will lose my shit.
user error, user error.
It really
But
is.
so that's why. So we actually are just. I mean, he's going to be 3, so we didn't buy a brand new one.
Yeah.
We're just
Okay.
wiping an old
Understandable.
one, completely starting it over, and
Okay.
gonna present. It's not his only Christmas present, obviously, but
Yeah.
that is
So the
that
parent
is the main one.
controls on the iPad are are good though. Like they're fairly
Really,
simple
really
and
good.
easy
Yeah,
for people to
you
place.
can actually link it to your own Apple ID and then put that one under,
Okay.
like have a kid's one, so it kind of locks it in where
So
they can't go
okay, so
buy
kind of
stuff by
like
accident.
okay, so kind of like the Kindle. So the Kindle Fire, you can do the same thing. I do like that, and I don't, like I said, that's why I refer to you about the iPad
Mm,
because I don't know anything about iPads. I know with the Kindle Fire, you can put parental controls on there. You can put goals for them to meet educational wise. So they can't. So any game that is not educational is on lockdown until they reach a certain time limit or goal that you've set for them. So for me, my son uses, now that he's older, he uses his Kindle for school because I homeschool. So for those of you who don't know that already about me, I do homeschool my child. And there are definitely days where it's easier for me to be like, okay, I need you to do your schoolwork on your tablet today because we've got a lot to do today. So I need you to do that instead of whatever we have planned for bookwork. Um, and so he has educational apps on there that he can access, but he cannot access anything that is not educational unless he's met. And now that he's older, I have like a 2 hour limit set
mm.
for educational stuff. And I've bumped it up each as he's gotten older. I bump up the amount of time by like 30 minutes. And he can't stand the 2 hour limit because he's just like, it's taking too long. And I'm like, well, if you would just sit down and do it, that's another thing. Because if he just stops doing the work, it doesn't count the time. So if he gets out of the app, it doesn't count.
Gotcha.
And so it holds it off at those minutes. And I'm just like, well, if you would just sit down and actually do it, it wouldn't take you this long. Like it would literally just take you the 2 hours instead of four, or
Yeah, and
six,
I like
whatever it
that.
is.
I like the concept you're
So,
talking about now for older
um,
kids. Obviously, Parker's a little bit different, and we only let him play
yeah,
for like 20, 30 minutes,
yeah. And
while
so
you're
I
making
got to
dinner
the
or something.
point, I even got to the point where sometimes he would download. That's another thing I will say. I don't know how iPad is, but I know, and I'm sure it's the same with Kindle. Eventually you do run out of memory space. Like you
Hmm.
run out of space. So I definitely recommend that if you get one, maybe get an SSD card to go with it if they fit those. Um, get one that way they can add extra stuff because let's just face it, especially apps and games nowadays, they take up a little more room than they used to.
Yeah.
So they're getting a little bit bigger. So I definitely recommend at least getting an SSD card to go with whatever you're getting. And I know with Kane, he was real bad about downloading apps, even if they were free. Like he would just download them because the ones that you had to pay for, you had to go through mommy to get them. So now, even with the free ones, he still has to ask permission because I need to make sure that he still has room on there because he's just bad about clicking on stuff and downloading it.
Yeah,
And it's
absolutely.
like,
Yeah.
you can't do that. But
Yeah.
but yeah, for honestly for younger kids, even the iPad or the Kindle Fire, whichever one you're obviously more comfortable with, they both obviously have parental settings and stuff like that. So there's things that he can't get into unless he has the PIN code, which he doesn't have. So, I definitely, for younger kids, that's definitely worth it if you're looking for something to be able to keep them either, whether it's car rides, keeping them entertained, or you're looking to kind of start them on an education. Maybe they're not in a daycare, or maybe they're not in school yet, and you want to kind of start that educational process. You
Yeah.
can start doing that with some of those games. Some of those games are really good. I mean, you've noticed it with Parker, right? Like
Hmm.
he has games that he enjoys playing that actually help him with
Yeah.
his
No,
learning
for
and
sure.
stuff. So,
Absolutely. He loves like match games and figure stuff out. And it's
yes.
been really interesting over the last 6 months. Games that he couldn't do 5 months ago, he just gets super frustrated because he couldn't do it. He's
Yeah.
figured out how to do it, so it's really cute to see the progression of
It's so
now
awesome
he
watching their little
knows.
brains.
Yeah, to just and he really got no help with anything. We didn't do anything like that
Yeah.
to like let him cheat. Like if he I taught him how to like leave a game. So if he didn't want to
Hmm.
play it, he could just back out
Yeah.
and he would go in because he likes the aesthetics of a game, but he couldn't
Yeah.
figure it out, so he would just leave, and then eventually he
Hmm.
just tap 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 the screen until something worked, and then it like clicks, like oh that's how you do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. It's
So
amazing how they figure that stuff out. And it's so fun to watch them figure it out too.
I mean
So yeah, I would
he would play more stuff on the Xbox that we have downstairs. We have a Series S attached to the TV,
yeah.
um, just for simple stuff. Depending on what somebody wants to do, obviously watch certain things on TV. You can use the Xbox for
Yeah.
that for all the apps. It's so funny that an Xbox and a PlayStation apps, even PlayStation, which I think is a little bit slow,
Uh-huh.
I can get to the ESPN app, the Netflix app, the Peacock, Paramount Plus, Prime
Mm-hmm.
Video, all that. It's so much faster on an Xbox.
Is it
When you try to
really?
use
I
your
haven't
smart
noticed a
TV,
difference,
I
but I
want to
don't.
throw the remote through the window because it's so slow. Everything just lags
It's
constantly, and
like
you're like,
it's like thinking really hard.
you're like, oh my goodness. And then like sometimes you got to wave the remote around like it's a mouse cursor, and then other times you got to
Oh
use the buttons
Lord.
because I'm like,
Ugh.
it stresses me. I don't know. Maybe it's because but everything just loads so much faster with the Xbox and
Yeah.
PlayStation. It kind of makes me laugh.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
So, saying that about PlayStation, Xbox, if you do have an older child and that's what they have, if they already have one, if they don't, and that's what you're looking for, definitely recommend getting them one. If that's within your budget, obviously. And you don't always have to buy the latest and greatest either. Okay.
absolutely.
As parents, I know we always strive to do that, especially for parents who may have grew up wanting these things and they're like, oh, I'm gonna make sure my child has that. Um, Obviously, don't put yourself out of pocket, but if it's something that you're looking at and it's something that's what you've been wanting, but maybe you can't afford the newest, it's okay to not get the newest thing. But I will say I do recommend whether you get PlayStation or Xbox, I do recommend that you get either the PlayStation Plus or the Xbox Pass because there are so many free games and new games at that come with those passes. Even if it's just for the month, if you're just getting the PlayStation Pass for the month or just the Xbox Pass for a month, whatever, definitely get it with it because it's worth it in the
Mm,
end because there's so many games they can get for free and some of them are new games, some of them are games that might be a little older but they're really cool. So with Xbox we have Xbox Pass, um, because we also have PCs, so and it works on PCs, guys. Okay, so you can get Xbox Pass for your PC and get access to these games as well. And my husband found the old Ninja Turtle games, like the old school Ninja Turtle games,
yeah.
and
They
he
added
got
the
them for our
Cowabunga
kid.
pack
Yep,
on
he got them for
Xbox
my
Game
son,
Pass. Yeah.
and he was like so excited. He was like, "Oh my gosh, I love these! These are old school games, Dad." And we're like, "Yeah, those are old school games."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "These are so cool!" And him and his dad beat the Ninja Turtles together, like because it's a multiplayer game. So for those parents who are gamers and want to find a way to connect with their child, you can do something like that, especially if they're into Ninja Turtles and stuff. Our son is. He loves the Ninja
Yeah,
Turtles.
of course. The
Um,
side scroller
so
beat 'em ups, button
Yep.
mashing games we call
And
them.
he really was like Kane's been very much like I don't like old school games, blah 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 blah. And we're like, dude, you don't even know. You've never
Yeah.
played them. Like, how can you say you don't like them? And so when my husband saw the Ninja Turtles, he got him into it, and they ended up beating the game. But like, you can get so many games on the Xbox Pass or the PlayStation Plus, and they change too. So they're not just stuck with those games.
Yeah. I do
You
want to
know?
point out so if you're looking at buying a console, keep in mind the PS5 is quite expensive. There are
And it's
two
still hard to
Xbox.
get.
It's hard to get, but I've seen them in Walmarts now, like literally just sitting there. So that's good news. So you
That's
you
that's
should be
good.
able to
That means
find
they're
them.
getting better.
Now the Xbox can be a little bit confusing. You're going to go into a GameStop, you're going to go into a Walmart, and you're going to see about 20 different Xboxes. You've got Xbox One, you've got Xbox One X, Xbox One S. Okay, the Xbox One, you can basically forget about that. Don't even if it's $100 less. Xbox One, if it says one at the end of it, just ignore it.
Ignore it.
You've got two options with the newer Xbox. You've got an Xbox Series X and an Xbox Series S. The X is the same price as the PlayStation 5. The S is about
Okay.
$200 less. Now, the only reason you would get an X is if graphics are the most important thing. You have a brand new 4K television. You're a parent that wants to play maybe a couple of adult games or story mode games where you want the best graphics possible.
I love story games.
Or if you play on monitors like Key and I do, if you do not have a 4K monitor, you don't need an Xbox Series X. You just need an S. So save yourself $200. All the games work on both platforms. There's some debate on whether something is faster or better on the S versus the X, things like that. Your eyes, I promise you, are not going to notice the difference. I would recommend getting the S because it is less expensive. That $200 is huge. That's almost 2 years of Game Pass right there.
Yeah,
The first
it
month
really is.
of Xbox Game Pass is $1, and then after that, I believe to get Ultimate, which is, I will be honest, which is probably what you want to get. It's $9.99 for regular Game Pass. It's $14.99 for the Ultimate. I would recommend getting the Ultimate, and here is the reason why. With Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, you have your Game Pass on your console, you have Game Pass on your PC,
I have
and you have
Ultimate.
Game Pass in the cloud. So devices that the cloud works. Apple devices, in a roundabout way. There's not a direct app, so you can't go to the iOS store and download an app. But if you just go to the Xbox.com, they'll show you how to do it. It's really easy. If you are confused and you need someone to hold your hand, I promise, just reach out to parentsfirstgaming@gmail.com. I will walk you through, or Kia will walk you. It's super, super easy to do.
Yeah.
You will download and you'll add basically an app to your iPhone or your iPad, and it will just look like a normal app. And then you click
I
on
have it on my
it. It's
phone.
great.
It's amazing. I have the Xbox Ultimate Pass as well because, like you said, we have a PC and we have an Xbox. Now we have the older Xbox. We have an Xbox One. We don't have anything. We haven't upgraded any of our systems outside of having like our PCs, obviously. And a lot of the reason why is because at the time when the new Xbox and the new PlayStation came out, they were extremely hard to get.
Absolutely.
Even for people who pre-ordered, they were still extremely hard for people to get. So, with that being said, me and my husband decided it was just cheaper for us to upgrade to PC. Both of us are not new to PC. We've just been on console for years, but PC is not something new to us. We've both gamed on PC growing up. So making the switch honestly wasn't that hard. It wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah. So I had, like I said, that's why we have Xbox Pass Ultimate, is so my son also has access to the games as well as I do. I will say that if you're looking between a console and a PC, if your child is serious about gaming, start them off with a gaming laptop. Don't go crazy and buy the latest, greatest PC, because I've seen it happen. I have family that it's happened to. They get their kid, they're like, okay, well, let's start you off with this. And then the kid lose interest. And now they have a laptop just sitting there being a nice little paperweight. So I recommend at least starting them off maybe with a gaming laptop instead of actually getting them like this crazy nice PC. For that reason. But even then, if you do get them that, you can still do the Xbox Pass on your PC and they can still have access to those games.
Yeah, so it adds a lot of games to it. Now, I do want to be upfront when it comes to the iPad, an Android tablet, an Android phone, or an iPhone, a Google phone, whatever mobile device you might be using. If you have Game Pass on that, it's great, but it is cloud-based. Now, what does that mean for you? If you're at home and you don't have very, very good internet, the games are going to be laggy, they're going to look bad. Cloud-based stuff is still progressing, it's still developing, it is getting better. Xbox probably has the best cloud-based service out there, so it is okay. But where it really comes into play is if you have Xbox Game Pass on your iPad, for example, and you have a long road trip, you can use data or a hotspot where you link your iPad to it, and you'll be able to access the cloud gaming. But you cannot download games to the iPad and then have it to use. So that is something I just want to make sure people understand. There's a lot of people that get into the Xbox Game Pass. They think, oh, my kid has all these games. We go on a road trip, they'll just be able to use their phone and play the game on it, link a controller to it, things like that. Once you leave your really nice Wi-Fi area, it can struggle, or it's using data to pull the game. Yeah. Now, with that being said, I know that PlayStation Plus has a handful of games. I know as far as a new game, I think the newest game they have is Stray. They add a lot of older games. Now, keep in mind, I will say this. PlayStation has more adult. They're very known for their exclusives, right? So we're talking adult-style games. Yeah. Whether it be God of War, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn games, things like that. They're definitely more geared towards adults. There's not a ton of overwhelming kid selections on the
Yeah.
PlayStation. No, they're out there, right? They've got
Yeah, they
the
are.
Sackboy, things like that, but it's
They
definitely
do
a little bit
have
more limited.
and any of your Lego games, any of your Lego
Lego
games at
games. Now,
school, they do
speaking
have
of Lego
those.
games, I know about 4 episodes ago we talked about the top 10 games to buy for kids. And
Oh
one of
yeah.
the top games was Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga. And wouldn't
Yeah.
you have it, Kia, guess what was added to Xbox Game Pass this week?
The Lego
The
one. Oh
Lego
my,
Star
that's
Wars The
amazing.
Skywalker Saga. So
That's
the
awesome
entire
though.
Star Wars thing redone in Lego, it's really, really cool, is now on Game Pass. That game alone is probably 200 hours worth of content. If you're a Star Wars fan and you want to get your kids into it, this is a great way to get into it. There's also a game for adults. If you're listen, I'm gonna talk to you about a game that just came out. Please do not play this around your kids, and don't let your
Oh boy.
kids play it. It is called High on Life, and this
Oh boy.
game is hilarious. But it is
Yeah.
written by the Rick and Morty writers, so it is
Okay.
very
So there
adult.
you go.
It's a
It's
first person,
automatically adult.
yes, it's first person shooter where your guns talk to you. They're like these alien guns. They curse you
Oh,
out.
I've seen people playing
Yeah,
that game and I didn't know
it's
what it
hilarious.
was.
But that's great news. It's a 60
Oh,
$70
Odin just said
game.
he said High on Life is amazing.
It's a 60 $70 game, and it is on Game Pass. You've also got
Hell
things like
yeah.
Forza Horizon, so you've got your car racing for kids that like to play that, especially younger kids, right? They jump into a car racing game, they love it for 30 minutes, and then they're done,
And then
right?
they're done. Yeah.
And what's great about the Forza Horizon games, they can just drive wherever they want. There's really no failing. They can just drive the
That's
car
right. We
wherever
talked
they want.
about
It's really,
that
really good.
because
Yeah.
we talked about that last episode because I'm not big on racing, but you were talking about it because it's
And
very
you still
open
haven't played,
world.
have you?
And I still haven't played it. Sorry, guys.
Unbelievable.
I'm so disappointed in me. It's okay. Shame, shame.
Unreal. So, and there's just a lot of random, very animated kids style games that have showed up on there. There's a total reliable delivery service like this dumb driving game. If you're a Riot fan, League of Legends, Valorant, things like that. One thing that Xbox Game Pass just added, which a lot of people don't understand, on the PC side of things, you can now play Valorant, League of Legends, all of that through Xbox Game Pass. Not only can you play those games, every legend and DLC and purchasable pack and character and all the different things you see from Riot Games included with Xbox Game Pass. That is a huge value. So
That's huge.
not only is there like I said, not only are there a ton of stuff for the kids, there's a ton of stuff for adults. You've even got a lot of people you see, maybe you're a simulator fan. Microsoft Flight
Yeah.
Simulator's on there.
I will
There's just
give
a lot
that
of cool
to
stuff.
Xbox. I will give that to Xbox. They do very well with mixing and saying, like having games for adults and kids.
Yeah.
I will say that about them. And honestly, that's why they make such a killing, is because they include adults and children. They don't just limit their games. I love my PlayStation, guys. Don't get me wrong. I
Listen,
do.
this
But
is my
there,
goal.
it
This
is
is my
very
goal
limited,
for
okay?
2023,
I mean,
Kia.
so
is
here
to
you
get
still okay
a
for
Microsoft
PlayStation. You still
rep.
have Spyro, okay? Like don't start
Yeah,
with me.
true.
Spyro's a kids game,
No,
okay?
but
All right, and I
Spyro
still love it
is-
even as an adult.
You can play Spyro
And
on the
Kingdom's
Xbox.
Heart. Kingdom's Heart. So, but yes, no, I will say that. Odin was saying that him and Nebulous Taco actually got PlayStation's a mid. Okay, all right, I got you guys. I got you. Okay, all right. He was saying that him and Nebulous Taco, one of his friends, a good person too, had early access to play High on Life early. Had early access to it, and he said they streamed it, and it was like they just laughed the whole time. So as an adult, if that's something you're looking for, don't play it around
Yeah,
kids.
it's definitely a certain type of humor, right?
Like,
it's definitely a niche humor. It's not for everyone. If you're
so
not
if you do like if you like Rick and Morty, okay, like that's probably worth it then. See, I never got into Rick and Morty. Please don't hate me, guys. Okay, I never got into it. It was not my type of humor.
I tried.
And that's fine.
I tried and I couldn't.
Okay,
It
it's
didn't hit
okay,
with me.
everybody. It's okay to have a different opinion. All right. um, I never got into it, but that was just me. I didn't care for the humor. That's just how I am. But he said that they laughed the whole time. So if you like that type of stuff and you liked Rick and Morty and they are the writers who wrote this game, then it might be worth looking into, especially if it's on the Xbox Pass. Just maybe be careful if you have kids and don't play it around them. Hoden also said League is very toxic. I agree. League is very toxic.
League is very toxic, but you know what?
League is very toxic.
To know that you can jump in and try it. Maybe you're someone that's like, man, I see this on ESPN once a year when they have their game finals and championships. I'd love to at least see what it is. Like, now you can try it on Game Pass, and you have every legend and everything completely unlocked, which is
Yeah.
like I said,
See, and that's really cool because a lot of times when you play stuff like that, you have to unlock those legends, or you have to pay for those legends.
For them.
So I will say that with Overwatch 2 that just came out, free to play, please be careful if you let your children play that because it is an online game and that community can be extremely toxic. I have ran into really good and nice people on there, but more so on the negative side. Most of the time I run into negative Nancy's, as we like to call them. I had somebody that like was trying to go off on me and I was just like, do you want a cookie? Do you need a hug? Where's your mom? Like,
you did not just mom somebody on.
Oh yeah, I 100% mommed somebody. Somebody was going off on one of my teammates that I was playing with, and as a mom, when I am playing with someone, and if I'm close with you, especially if you're younger too, if I'm close with you, and this person was going off on my teammate, and I love her to death, and she's super sweet, and she is younger than me. I came on there and said, excuse you, why are you talking to my child like that? You need to watch your mouth. They stopped. Like, do not talk to my kid like that. Like, I don't have a problem momming somebody, but please, if you do let your children play stuff like that, maybe just keep an eye on it because they can be extremely toxic. But Overwatch 2 is free. But the thing is if you didn't own Overwatch 1, you don't have all the heroes unlocked. You have to unlock them. And that's something my son had to learn the hard way. He got a little upset about that. Because mommy had all the legends. Well, why does mommy have all the heroes why does she have them all? Well, because mommy owned Overwatch 1 before Overwatch 2 came out. So I had all the heroes. And so he's been having to work with it. Now he is not allowed to play Overwatch unless he is with me and I have a full squad. Okay. Nobody jump me for that. All right. Same thing goes with Apex. He's not allowed to play it unless he's with mommy or daddy. For those reasons though, because it is an online game and people can be extremely toxic and very rude. So
when you letting him play when are you going to let him play Call of Duty?
No.
What about Grand Theft Auto?
When I'm ready to talk about sex with him, he can play Grand Theft Auto. Okay.
So when he's 19. Wait, are you going to have that talk with him or are you going to make the hubby have the talk with him?
You know, I'd say I'll probably make the hubby have the talk with him, but more than likely I'll have to have the talk with him because my husband will be like...
Wait, can you repeat that again? Can you give a little...
No.
Little Louisiana head
COD is trash and full of trash people.
No, listen, Odin.
Odin. James plays the COD and he's not trash.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm trash at the game, so I guess... You know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, but honestly, I played COD when the beta was out for 2. I played the beta, and the amount of people that still can't come up with a better comeback than get in the kitchen is insane. Okay, I'm just saying.
You need to play with Ender and I so we can get people to say it. We just get like a highlight of clips of saying, get in the kitchen. They
hear a girl and they're like, go get in the kitchen. Or my favorite one that they said to one of my girlfriends, I bet you're over 200 pounds. You're just fat and blah, blah, blah. And like, that bitch is fine. What you talking about? Yeah. She ain't 200 pounds. Like, she's hot as hell. Like, why are you like,
Odin's watching in your chat right now. Odin, did you hear that accent come out? I was teasing her before we started recording. If she gets passionate, that accent comes out. That's my favorite part. I just want to play Warzone with you with proximity chat and us come up on someone and then going, we can hear you over here. Oh, your accent
I really,
so
actually,
thick that
I would love to play with proximity chat because I can't tell you the amount of times, like even in Apex, I'm like wandering around walking and then I'm like, I start whispering and Adzy's like, why are you whispering? I'm like, because I don't want the enemies to hear me. And he's just like, what?
All right.
There's no prox chat in Apex. It's
So
just I'm crazy.
I know Odin is in chat watching right now. Odin, do you have any recommendations? We'll jump back to you, but I'll give you a second to type something up. Do you have any recommendations for last minute Christmas buying gifts, maybe for younger
Yeah.
kids or older? And Kia, why he's thinking about that? For those watching on YouTube, you might notice that Kia is finally in a different setup. So you want to give us a quick little tour and explain your room setup here? Is that a curtain to the
Yeah.
outside? Is that a
So
room? Is that a window?
no, this is my room. This is my room, and that is my window. The curtain you see is my window. I closed it because it was a little too much daylight coming in. So I will say that I love brightness. So my house is very light and bright. It makes me happy to have light and bright stuff. When it's dark, it kind of gives me more of I get a little sad and depressed. So we try to keep things light here. So for those who don't know, I do deal with depression, and things like that do make a big difference for me.
Hey, no, I get it. I get
Don't
it.
laugh at me, damn it.
Oh, I'm only I'm only laughing because I'm in a green screen studio, and if I turn around right now, like
I know.
it's dark in here.
I know.
It's bright behind me, but it's dark at my desk.
Yeah, no, I understand. So yes, I have a new mic. I'm using earbuds now. Those have helped with my headaches. I've had fewer of them. I have had at least 1 or 2 migraines since being here, but honestly, a lot of that is stress induced. And nothing to do with having to wear a headset for multiple hours at a time because I stream. So yes, I have a new setup. This is the bookcase behind me is actually one that my papa or my husband's papa built for me because I asked for a bookcase. I love to read. I have a gazillion books. That's not even most of them. Like I love to read, so I have an addiction. Don't ever take me into a bookstore. I will spend $1,000 easily with no problem. So yeah, so obviously I decorated for Christmas. We have a little mini Christmas tree. I have an obsession with polar bears too, so I have a nice little collection of polar bears right there. They're all glass figurines. And then I have my little mini bookcase that a lot of people saw in my older stream room. That's like right here. It has been it's been upgraded to hold some of my stuff that I've done as far as like puzzles. I have a polar bear puzzle. I have some of my D&D stuff. And obviously I have my Dubby back there as well. So yeah, it's honestly having the room has been really, really nice because I get to, oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Look at Lilnoodz. Lilnoodz dropping some
I look over
some
my chat because
craziness
it's blowing up, and
on
I'm like,
you.
what's going on over there?
In the middle of Parents vs. Gaming podcast, Kia
Yes,
has
in the
been,
middle.
if you're
Hey.
watching YouTube or you're listening to audio a little bit later, Kia has been, we are recording this live, so Kia has been rated by Lilnoodz, which was one of our favorite streamers.
One of my absolute favorite
Yeah,
streamers.
she is awesome. And do you know, can you explain this, why she's rated? I'd love to understand this thing that's been bouncing around.
The 5 heads?
Yes.
The 5 heads? Is that what, okay, so, because apparently she has a 5 head. I don't think she does. She's absolutely gorgeous, by the way. She is absolutely one of my favorite streamers of all times to watch. I love her. She's very wholesome. She can get a little crazy sometimes.
And
especially when she's
Nudes for noodles, right? Not
it's for noodles. It's for
yes,
noodles.
if you're listening
She
to the
loves
audio
noodles.
podcast, don't
Okay.
freak out.
All right, yeah, she loves noodles, as we all do. Your forehead. Stop it, girl.
She's
Do
in here
not.
talking about herself. So someone coming in from the
Well,
chat.
yes,
We asked some people. This podcast is our final podcast of the year for Parents versus Gaming.
Yes.
And it is a last minute buyer's guide for parents. So if you guys are
Yes,
jumping in the chat
so-
now and anyone has any ideas on what they would recommend a parent to buy a kid anywhere from 6 to 18, upcoming games besides the God of War, things like that. Go ahead and let us know in the chat what you guys would recommend for someone to buy. PlayStation versus Xbox. Do you like Game Pass versus PlayStation Plus? We'd love to hear your guys' opinions and ideas.
Yes. So if you have any recommendations for us, let us know. Games, consoles, PC, whatever. Like if you have like a recommendation, let us know because like I said, this is our last episode for this year. We will be starting again up next year with a whole new look. And
didn't you say that you were bringing
schedule?
Lilnoodz on for an interview?
I don't know. Should we? I think we should.
Yeah,
I think we
absolutely.
should.
We
I think we should
100% sure.
100% bring
They say
Lilnoodz
yes.
on.
So
Yes.
I think that's
Yes.
it.
What? She goes, what? Me?
Hey, you already said yes. I see yes, then what me?
Yep. Uh-huh. Yes, me.
So
Yep.
we would love to interview, let her give a shout out to, what kind of streamer she is. And
I would too.
because there's a lot of parents that are trying to let their kids get into streaming and kind of knowing, does it have to be gaming?
Yes.
Can it just be just chatting? What is just chatting?
So I will
think that would
say,
be great
okay,
for her to come on and
Odin,
talk.
one of my new friends that I just met, Odin, he actually does a lot of just chatting. And Demi does too as well. Lilnoodz, she also does just chatting as well. So it doesn't have to be. From my perspective, I mean, obviously, I've done just chatting. That's what I'm doing right now. It doesn't have to be just about streaming. But yes, we would love to have you on the podcast.
And I do want to give a shout out. I do see in your chat as it's going faster. Cosmic Carly says Portal Knights is super fun. It's kind of like an off-brand Minecraft, but a multiplayer. So that sounds really, really cool. So something for parents to look into. Sometimes these off indie style games are really interesting for kids to find, and you're not going to see them in the mainstream media. So listening to shows like this is where we're probably going to jump out and be able to tell you about some of these games. So that's always something interesting to look into as well.
Yes. Let's see. All right, I want to go back. I'm going to scroll up, guys. I'm going to scroll up for a second, so I might not see your messages real quick. So hold on, because I want to see if Odin said anything.
And someone said for Elder Scrolls Online, correct. That's a great one. And remember, if you have Xbox Game Pass, it is included with Xbox Game Pass. I don't know if it's on PlayStation Plus, but it's definitely on Xbox.
Tired of hate mail and being trolled to death. Ooh, yeah, okay. All right, that was the last thing Odin said, was that about the. Okay.
I think we're caught up.
Okay, I think so. I think we're caught up because I was like looking to see. Yes. Lilnoodz has actually been playing ESO the last couple times she streamed. So she is now an ESO fan. I still have yet to get
someone
into
says
it, but I think a
Dinkum.
lot of it too.
So if you're a PC
Dinkum
fan,
is so cute.
Dinkum is on Steam.
Hey, Shock.
And that's like an Animal Crossing. So if you're a big Animal Crossing fan, or you don't have a Switch and you wish your kid had access to that, so Steam is a good thing to grab that game. There's also the Disney Dreamlight Valley, which is similar to like an Animal Crossing, which is on Game Pass, which is really cool. It's also on iOS devices. It's a free to play, but it is similar to like an Animal Crossing, but you have all your Disney characters, which is really, really great.
Yes, that's true. I can personally say yes to Dinkum as well. Dinkum is a very cute game. It's definitely worth the $20. It's extremely cute, and I love playing it when I do. So Dinkum is definitely a good one for kids as well. It's basically an Australian version of it.
Nice.
It's really cool. Yeah.
That's cool.
So yeah, it was really cool. So yeah. It was definitely worth the $20 to buy it and play it.
So what's the final verdict on the new house and setup? We were just going through that as you got rated.
Yes, I know. As I got rated by like my favoriteest person. Okay, stop being. No, so I absolutely love the setup. It's been fantastic having a stream room finally, being able to actually like shut the door and not have to worry about people hearing my crazy child running around in the background or screaming and hollering.
It is quieter. I was shocked.
Or playing a game. I know, right? Because my child is very animated when he's playing a game. Like extremely animated when playing a game. So he can be very loud. And as most know, I was in the living room at my old house. And everybody was in the living room at the old house. So like my husband played as well. So if he was playing with my son and they were doing stuff that like, it just was bad. And of course, people always said I was really quiet. But it's like I felt bad if I talked too loud because everybody else is trying to do things. And so it's actually been really, really nice and refreshing to have my own setup, my own room. That's been really, really good.
So I like it. I like the new setup. I like the mouse pad.
Terraria.
Terraria is a great game. That's someone in the chat is shouting out there. Is that the one that's like a 2D Minecraft style?
I don't know.
I think so.
I think that's
Terraria. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, condition
They
red
say
save.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's really, really cool. It kind of has a lot of the same mechanics. It's a really interesting game. I believe it's also downloadable on mobile platforms. Maybe not mobile, but like iPad and stuff. I think you can download that, not have to play it off any cloud service. So that could be a good thing. Minecraft, of course, is downloadable. Even if you're not using it through the Game Pass system, you can
Yes.
just buy it off of an iPad or off of
Yep.
that's
And
basically
you can
everywhere.
play
So
it. Yep. You can play it on your iPad. You can play it on your Kindle Fire. You can play it on your PC. You can play it on
there's
your
kids.
console.
I love Minecraft, but there are
Yeah. Tell
kids
you how
that
many
can
times I
play.
bought Minecraft.
There are kids that can play it on an iPad with no controller better than I can play it with a controller.
I know, right?
It's super. I'm like,
It's
"What?
insane.
How did you just
And
build all
it's
that?"
crazy how creative you can be with blocks.
And Divine
Divine
Knockout,
Knockout?
someone mentioned
Okay.
that it is that's got a bit of a boost right now.
I keep
Some of the
forgetting about Super
streamers,
Smash
it's like
Bros.
Super Smash Brothers, but it's on Steam, and then of course Nintendo Switch. You've got your Super Smash Brothers style of game.
Okay, so it's Smite mixed with Smash is what Shock is
Smite
saying.
mixed with Smash. So I'm out
Okay.
because I'm horrible at any kind of games like that, but it looks really, really cool.
But we're not looking for you. We're looking for kids and other people,
It's too
not us.
complicated. It's too complicated. That's why I just.
As we
that's why,
secretly write these games down for ourselves later.
yeah, that's why. That's why I just stick with Warzone. I'm bad at it, and I just have to.
I mean, I'm horrible at Apex and I still play it, but I have a lot of fun too because I
That's
laugh
true.
a lot.
That's very
That's
true.
the biggest thing is
Lilnoodz says no, you're not bad at it.
I'm not that. Yes, I am. I just keep people alive.
Just because you whisper doesn't make it true.
You dropping Tegan off, baby?
All right, guys. I think
Yeah, I
that
can.
we are
I can watch her.
getting close. In
Yeah.
case anyone
Yeah, I
has
don't-
anything
AT&T
else
doesn't have
that's
that right now.
specifically for kids, let us know in the chat that we can shout out there. But outside of that, I think we're just ready to wish everybody a Merry Christmas here from Parents versus Gaming. Like I said, for those of you who just jumped into chat, I'm gonna recap what we got going on. So this is our final
Yes,
episode
please
of
do.
Parents versus Gaming. We are part of a larger company that I run with a guy named Ender, which is called Last Choice Network. We have an anime podcast called Konichiha. They go to a lot of conventions. They break down different anime episodes. They just did talking about sports anime. There's people that don't understand the difference between different anime. They just think it's all one thing. So if you want to learn from them, it's called Konichiha. We've got a horror podcast, horror. I don't want Jay to freak out here. It is scary, so they've done a Scream breakdown. They've done some Halloween stuff. So really, really cool podcast there. That's called Last Choice on the Left. Ender and I do a podcast called Two Dudes the Game. We just break down kind of what games that we are currently playing, whether we like them, we don't like them. We're obviously talking a lot about Warzone right now and the updates in the Call of Duty League and some of the scandals. We did even an episode about Nadia and her toxicity. So we're all over the place there. We've got a Last Choice TV Reviews podcast where we did a House of the Dragon breakdown. We're currently doing Winchesters. We're going to do anything Game of Thrones going forward and just different kind of TV shows, or if someone recommends anything. Obviously, I think we're going to go back and hit up Halo. We'll have Last of Us TV shows that comes back, so that's a really good podcast. And then we've got Death on Destination, where there are two travel advisors that break down deaths at famous tourist destinations. Almost like a true crime podcast, but every episode is individual. They don't drag it out for 9 episodes for you to get to the end, so anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes. You hear the beginning, the middle, the end, what happened, or if a case is still open. That's really cool. And then we've got the 614 and Beyond, which is about Ohio sports, mainly the Columbus Blue Jackets hockey team and the Ohio State Buckeyes, with a little dabble in some of the other sports. I'm from Texas, originally from Ohio, but we brought on a guy that's very excited, so that's a pretty good podcast as well. But all of this is part of the Last Choice Network. You can find us on lastchoicenetwork.com. The website is about to get completely revamped. We are on every audio platform that you can find audio podcast. And of course, all of our stuff is on the Last Choice Network YouTube channel. So we do everything in video form, put everything out there. Ender even streams on there. I'm James III. I stream on Facebook Gaming. Killa, of course, we do a lot of our live recording for Parents versus Gaming over on her Twitch channel. And of course, she's an amazing mom that does a lot of the Twitch stuff. So if you jump on that website, thanks Killa for putting that on there. It is
You're
very
welcome.
much a placeholder, and we'll just kind of guide you in the direction to maybe see some of the stuff that we have. But the Last Choice Network YouTube channel, there's also a Last Choice Network Facebook page. We're starting to grow. So a
Yes.
lot of these changes you're going to see revamped and grown as we turn into 2023. We come back in the third Sunday of January where we'll be live on Killa's channel. We try to do Parents versus Gaming where we basically record 3 to 4 episodes on a live podcast
Yes.
once or twice a month on Killa's channel. And then those get spread out. Every Monday we will drop the next episode. But if you watch it live, you'll probably have seen everything. But it's kind of cool to do live because you see the transitions between the beginning, the middle, how we start an episode as we start recording, things like that. But anything you guys can do, whether you download the episodes on the audio, that's the only way to track audio episodes. So anybody that you follow for podcasting, if they're small, I promise you, download the episode and then delete it later. It doesn't matter. You're not going to take up the space on your phone, but downloading is the only way to track audio podcast or leaving reviews
Helps.
and ratings.
Yes.
Reviews and ratings, it helps so much. That's how we can try to get sponsors to grow the channel. Currently, right now, everybody is doing it for free and for fun because it's our passion. And James is doing it for very expensive. But it is a lot of fun.
And we appreciate you for doing it.
Listen, hey, I just hopefully one day we can recoup our costs. But we would love to keep this going. Anybody that's interested in coming on as a guest on any of the podcasts, maybe you love anime,
Yes.
maybe you are very interested in the parent, maybe you're a parent yourself, we would love to have you on the podcast. We are a network because we are smaller where you can give your feedback and you can debate topics with us, whether you agree or don't agree. But any kind of like, share, subscribe on any of the stuff, leave in ratings, all of that helps so much. You have no idea. I mean, our Last Choice TV Reviews podcast for The House of the Dragon jumped up inside the top 100 on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And that was just
That's
from
so
people
awesome.
leaving likes and comments and reviews. So it's really interesting how you can see if a podcast kind of takes off and then it stays there and it gets rotated, it gets seen by a lot more people. Same thing with the YouTube videos, especially for Parents versus Gaming. We want to grow this to give this a feedback. There's a lot of gamers. You're not parents, but what are you sick and tired of hearing out is how parents hate on gaming. They don't, I'm not letting my kid game because gaming's stupid. This entire channel is dedicated to educating parents. We talk about the mental health side of things. We do talk about gaming addiction. It is a real thing. But we break down the difference between what gaming addiction is and what it isn't. So hopefully that any kind of feedback you guys can give as gamers is always going to help and explain the difference. So that's going to help us. It's going to help the gaming community, and we really want to grow this into more of an educational channel for parents and kids, and maybe do a podcast that as we try to keep the language down. That's why Jay's not on here anymore. Or Kia gets excited and passionate.
I get excited and passionate.
But it's in your accent, so I don't think they can understand that you're actually using language. But again, it is about educating parents, and we want to grow the gaming community in a better way and put them in a better light and not make this all about politics or what people think is good or isn't good for their kids and the screen just the stigma from the gaming side sometimes is really hard for parents that didn't grow up with gaming or they're so against gaming because that's all they know. So hopefully we can break out of that. And obviously there's a lot of toxic gamers out there that do not help the stigma. Looking at you, Call of Duty community. So, and then a lot of parents just, because the most popular games are Overwatch, Apex, Call of Duty, Grand Theft Auto. A lot of parents, they don't know about the games that are more open. They think, online gaming's bad, and we explain that you can be in a private party. All your kids and their friends can be together and never deal with an outside community. And we try to break down all that. So, like I said, any kind of help that you guys can give as a community, it's always going to be greatly appreciated, and it really does help these channels grow.
Yes, and honestly, any community can become toxic. Any community. I've seen it in Minecraft. Okay, Minecraft. So it's honestly just keeping a tab on your kids when they're doing stuff like that.
Remember, just about anything is the negative people are going to outweigh the positive people because it's just like leaving a review at a restaurant. If you have a good time at a restaurant and there's nothing wrong, you're probably not leaving a review. But if everything went horrible, you'll leave a review. So the negative
that's
side
usually
is
how
always
it
gonna be out
works.
there.
Yeah. So if anybody wants to do hey Keisha, speaking of the wonderful woman I was telling you guys about earlier who plays God of War and made me want to go back and play. Keisha, who is also a parent and expecting.
Hey, congratulations, Keisha.
So if anybody, parent or not, if you're just tired of the stigma on gaming as well, if you're looking or any of our other podcasts, feel free to reach out to us. and ask if you can be a guest. We love to have people come on and actually talk to us about stuff. Um, so yeah, if you're looking, definitely reach out.
Yeah,
You were talking about me?
absolutely.
Yes, I legit was talking about you, Keisha.
Keisha, at the beginning of our podcast, if you go back and listen when it comes to
Was at
audio
the
or to
very beginning,
YouTube,
yeah.
you will definitely see big shout out to you
Yes.
and what you've been playing. I guess God of War Ragnarok, so it has made
Yes.
Kia want to go buy a PlayStation 5. Apparently,
It has, because I love God of War.
sucker.
Oh, I
That's their
am.
marketing. I do want to point out for those that watch the Game Awards. Oh my goodness! Oh, Xbox laid an egg. I'm very upset. I'm a
Oh, did
big
they?
Xbox fandom. They showed nothing at the Game
Really?
Awards. Absolutely
Oh.
nothing. It's very depressing. I have a feeling it has a lot to do with this Activision buy and how the FTC is suing them. Listen, if you're a parent that's like,
No,
"Oh, I don't want to
Ragnarok's
get
on.
involved with Microsoft and this lawsuit and all this," it's not real. It's not affecting their Game Pass situation. So get the Game Pass. Like I said, it is really really good. But hopefully Xbox has a 2023 to rebound, because as a longtime fan, it is getting to the point where it's just frustrating and almost
Yeah.
downright embarrassing that they keep pushing the goalpost further and further away. I mean, Ryan McCaffrey from IGN made a great example. He said that we are the consumers, we are Charlie Brown, and the games and everything that comes with it is the football, and Microsoft is Lucy. And every time we go to kick the football, Lucy just keeps pulling the football away. Like that really is the feeling. We think we're going to get excited. Oh, this is going to be the year. It's going to be the year for about 6 years for Microsoft.
Oh, that's actually a pretty good one. Sloth.
Hollow
We're gonna go with
Sloth.
sloth. Yeah. You guys. English is my first language, but I still have a hard time with it. Just made a really good point that we could actually look at maybe discussing later. You could do a whole episode about how a lot of young guys are looking for older male role models in gaming spaces.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
I mean, the scary thing about streaming and streamers that take off, and I've listened to some podcasts, some people be guests that are very, very well-known streamers, and they talk about it. You're not prepared for the stardom that you end up into, because if you're an actor, actress, you have people surrounding you. You're kind of
yeah.
prepared. Some of them turn out to be real pricks, and they're not humble people, but some streamers turn out to have a bad stigma because they just genuinely don't know how to handle the stardom. It kind of freaks them out a little
Yeah.
bit. But it is true, to the streaming community can definitely have a bigger impact as far as a role model, because you have more interaction.
Yeah.
You grew up as a younger kid, you like Tom Brady, you like LeBron James. The odds of them talking to you are slim and none. But the
Yeah.
average person can go onto a streamer and get some interaction. Maybe they drop a $10 donation or something like that, and then they're going to have a little bit of interaction. And finding those role models, I think, is huge. So I think Hollow Sloth has a good point on that, and we could do.
Yeah, may have to touch on that because I think that's actually really good. Because I know a lot of people, there are people that do look for that.
Absolutely. And now I don't want to keep
so.
it to male only because you're on here. So if we do an episode like that, I'd love to give about 3 or 4 examples of good, wholesome, large streamers and smaller streamers, like Lilnoodz,
Yeah.
who's not a smaller streamer, but kind of in the middle there.
I know.
Could be,
I think
is
she's a big
great-
streamer, personally. I think she is a big streamer. To me, she is.
Listen, everybody's
Like,
a
to
big
someone
streamer
like me,
compared
she's
to
a
me.
big
I got
streamer.
about 2.5 viewers. So
Okay, to be fair, you don't stream regularly. Okay?
listen, why you gotta make fun of
Don't.
me?
I'm not. I'm just saying. Like,
But
stop it.
yeah, I think there's a lot of great people out there to have to find that older role model and to find that person that can consistently stream. So I'd love to hopefully reach out to some of them, bring them on. My goal for this channel is to bring a lot of guests on throughout the year, whether they are highly invested in the parental community, maybe someone that was a gamer, eventually got married, had a kid, how did it change them? Keisha is about to have another. You just talked about one of your
Yeah.
favorite streamers who's playing God
Yeah.
of War. It'd be
I would
interesting
actually
to
love
bring Keisha on as
to
a
have-
guest and talk about.
I would love to have Keisha as well
You're
as a guest because I
expecting,
think
right?
she'd
You're
be
about to have
amazing.
another child. So how do you foresee that affecting your gaming schedule? Are you going to try to game? How do you balance life? Because it really is sometimes the healthiest gaming is about balancing life. And we talk
Yeah.
everything in moderation. We've said that time and time again on the Parents versus Gaming podcast, especially for parents that are afraid of gaming addiction. Or they
Yes.
say, my child throws a temper tantrum because I take away the game. Well, your child's going to throw that same temper tantrum if you take them away from the sandbox or their favorite book away. It's the same reaction. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's video games. And that's the stigma we're trying to break. Now, of course, if video game is their main addiction and their screen time is all you really, really give them, of course that's going to be the biggest problem. That's
going to make me cry.
So, we need to, help people understand, and it really is moderation. Now, Hollow Sloth just read a comment. Do you want to read out this comment?
I will try without crying. Okay. Hollow Sloth said, I think this conversation does include women, though. I think there is a lot of toxicity for women in gaming spaces. Not wrong. I have been playing a lot of Fortnite and play with people of all ages, but the younger guys in particular will tell me about the absent.
Do you want me to read this for you? All right, so Hollow Sloth says in chat, I think this conversation does include women, though. I think there is a lot of toxicity for women in gaming spaces. I have been playing a lot of Fortnite and play with people of all ages, but the younger guys in particular will tell me about their absent dads and how they appreciate how I treat them as people. I think if we want lower toxicity for men in spaces so it becomes better for everyone, it requires older men treating young men with respect. Hollow Sloth, that is 100% correct. I know that Kia is struggling to get through this as a mom. I actually come across it, funny enough, and just recently I came across this in Call of Duty Warzone. Now, I'm sorry that I'm a 41-year-old dad that's not that great at it, because I would love to be one of those top streamers. You see constant videos of this. I know that Courage and some of those guys have come across a young gamer that they consistently play with once or twice a year. They keep jumping back on. I can't remember his name, but it's super cute videos that they come across. I felt so bad. I tried 2 or 3 games in a row to try to help this kid get a win. I can't even get a win myself, so I don't know how I was going to carry this kid, but I tried.
But you were going to try, right?
I did try. We had a really, really good time. But you do have to find that balance, and being a role model. I don't even know, I'm not trying necessarily to be a role model, but just show them that there aren't always toxic people. I mean, there are people out there that as soon as they hear a kid's voice, they're like, F you, kid, and go home and get off my game.
It's so sad. It really is, because it's like kids want an escape as well. Mm-hmm. Like they do, and especially kids who might struggle, like they need that escape. As someone that it's not your fault, Sloth, okay? So please don't feel bad. But I am a kid who grew up in a broken home, and I am thankful that my husband is an amazing father to our son. He's someone that I looked for as a male figure. And my dad is amazing, and he tried to be there as much as he could, okay? So nobody hate on any of that. It's just sometimes things are made a little harder for people to be there for their kids. But as someone who grew up in a broken home and has seen her brothers, because I have 3 of them. I have 3 brothers and 1 sister, so I'm the oldest of 5. And watching them not know that our dad loved them, even though he did, and he tried so hard to show it. It was just made very difficult for him to actually be there for us. It hurt me as a sister because I knew our dad loved us, but because they were younger than me when my parents split, they didn't. And so they always looked for an older, like they looked for a male figure. And a lot of the people my mom brought into our life was not role model worthy, okay, at all. And the most worthy person they've had in their life is my husband. And they all look up to him. And that alone warms my heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So don't feel bad, okay?
No,
I'm just an emotional wreck.
Hollow Sloth, honestly, it's a really, really great point. We have done episodes in the past that kind of touch on this. But like I said, as we revamp Parents First Gaming, we go forward, it is definitely a topic we'd like to dive into a lot more and get a little bit more depth into it. And, surrounding ourselves. I know that I met Kia pretty early on in both of our streaming careers. Yes, obviously, Kia has stuck more to the streaming, and I've transitioned to trying to run a podcast network. But there was definitely some people in we kind of shared the same community at the beginning. So I think it works out that I've kind of drifted from the streaming scene. but there were definitely a handful of toxic people that we let into our community, and it split our community pretty quickly at the beginning. And you
It did.
learn over the year to 2 years who really is there. And it's interesting, Kia, that some of your biggest supporters, now there are definitely some people around from the beginning that I still see, but
Yeah.
it's interesting that the more we've gotten into this, some of our biggest supporters were people that weren't there at the beginning, that
Yeah.
weren't trying to just be there for themselves.
Yeah.
Lilnoodz is honestly a perfect example of a large streamer that has, you're tied very much into her community, and some of her community comes over and supports you quite a bit. And
Yes. And I love and appreciate every one of you.
everything seems very organic versus some of the people that we had that were very toxic before. The only reason they jumped in is they
Yes.
just wanted to take the people that were in your community and try to make them theirs. So when you
Yes.
weren't around, they would talk bad stuff about you. They'd air out any kind of conversations you had. And some of those people at the time for me were actual friends that I knew before, and they're not even a
Yeah.
part of my life anymore.
And it makes it
And
it makes it hard. It
yeah,
does.
so it really is important to find a good community and find the streamers that are out there, not to try to take advantage of you, but they're there as support. I mean, there are streamers out there that are younger than me that I would say that they're a role model. I mean, Kia, you for one are definitely a role model for me. I jump into most of my streaming during the day or in the evening when I'm working, and I'm definitely a lurker. I don't always have
Yeah.
time to jump in because I'm lurking. It's just in the background. But the streamers, my top 3 streamers every week are Tim the Tapman, Dr. Disrespect, because I love Call of Duty. I love their banter. But if I don't have, if I need something that's just calm and wholesome, then it's going to be Kia. And she doesn't even know this until yesterday. I told her, I'm like, no, I love your setup, because she was trying to
Thank
explain it to me
you.
like I hadn't seen it, but I definitely have. It's up there. I love having Kia on. If it's during the day and Kia's not on, I usually throw Lilnoodz on. So it is about just finding the people that fit it's like finding a couple TV shows that you like.
Yeah.
There are things that you like that you want
It
to pay
really
attention
is.
to the entire time, and then there are things that you're going to watch that you're watching and you're not watching at the same time. So finding that area and the community that follows those streamers are huge importance. So big shout out to the Lilnoodz community, because I am rarely in there. If I get a chance and I'm reading through the chat and just hearing her interact with the chat, nothing is really super toxic, which I think is super amazing, and a big testament for those that are in her community and in the bakery. To
I think you guys
watch
are
it
just trying to make me
change,
cry all my makeup off right now.
to watch the bakery, which is Kia's Discord
hard.
channel, to watch that change over the last year and a half to people just either trying to self-promote constantly or be toxic or it just felt like they were trying to bring people down, to being very uplifting and positive and throw in some humor and jokes and talk about their day. Like, it's definitely exciting to see. That's something that we hope that we can bring as we
Yes.
revamp the Last Choice Network Discord channel. We're not trying
For
to steal
sure.
anybody's community. We just want to give people a place to chat and debate and talk about different
Yes.
topics that are going on in our podcast, where, a community like Lilnoodz and like the bakery for Kia, that's more about kind of your day-to-day life. You're probably going to have way more interaction there, but hopefully we can grow along with these communities and give you
Yes.
guys a place to voice your opinions, where we're going to take them towards these podcasts, and we want to make you guys a big part of the show and what we're doing. So we're super excited about that. We do have an old podcast that I'm going to bring back for once a month. It'll be one episode a month. I don't know,
Okay.
Kia, if you remember, we were running a game show
around the Discord?
Around the Discord. It's going to come back in 2023. For those that don't know, Around the
Okay.
Discord, if you're a sports fan and you've seen Around the Horn on ESPN, it's exactly the same thing. I have all the bells and whistles. I have overlay. I have everything set up. I run it like a game show host. We bring on 4 people. We eliminate people. It's just about video games. So we kind of bring current topics.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
It's a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to be on. So that's something we want to reach out. We want to have 3 regulars from the Last Choice Network on it, and we always want to bring on a guest to compete. Of course, if you win, you get to stay on for the next week, so there won't be a new guest. But we would love to have that on there. And as things continue to grow, if we can get some sponsorships, we'd love to be able to have some giveaways if a guest ever wins on that, whether it be a brand new PlayStation, an Xbox, maybe a game code, something like that. We'd love to have some prizes to give away. So hopefully you guys would be interested into something like that. It is a lot of fun to be a part of. It's about 30, 45 minutes long. man, is it a lot of work to try to do that live. When someone told me that ESPN pre-records everything and then airs it, I wanted to throw myself through the window because I was like, cheaters? Bunch of cheaters? Maybe you're hosting it and hitting all the buttons at the same time?
That's not fair.
So,
yeah.
But that's kind of what the future holds.
Yeah. And I'm super excited for the future. I really am. I think this podcast is going to do amazing. Personally, I really think this next year is going to be very big for us.
We got to get our views and our downloads up for sure.
I think it will be okay. Honestly, I think it will. But yes, so I just put in our website. We are, like I said, we're revamping some things. So just be patient with us. We will be back next year for the podcast. I will be doing it live for us as well, as he said. And if you're here for the live, we will be doing multiple topics because we're going to be recording for being able to put out those episodes. So we're not having to sit here and struggle like we have been.
Yeah.
We've been so busy and everything's been so crazy. That's life though. It really is, honestly, in a nutshell. It just gets crazy. But honestly, I couldn't be happier with the community that I've built personally. And I love everybody that's been a part of it, that's come in, that's joined. Keisha is actually another really good person to watch. She does have her stuff is set to 18 plus for, like she said, the reason language, which is also why mine says 18 plus as well. I do cuss a little. Okay. It happens. All right.
You're not competitive or anything.
It's honestly, no, I'm not competitive at all. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't rank at all in Apex. But yeah, so that is the main reason. It's obvious it's not every other word, obviously, but it does happen. No, not you. Okay, now my husband's in on it. All right. I got you. I got you guys. Okay, I got it.
Mr. J is here.
Yes. So
listen,
for those who didn't know, hold on.
Okay,
Mr. J had his 40th birthday yesterday. So a big shout out to my amazing husband.
Happy birthday.
And a big happy birthday from everybody here.
But I have a question for your husband while he's in the chat.
Oh.
When she's angry at you, like actually yelling, does the accent come out more? Is she when she starts screaming, do you try not to laugh because the accent comes out? Like she's like, I'm trying to tell you.
Stop.
Because when she gets passionate on here, the accent definitely comes out. And I'd love to see if your chat notices that too. Or at least going forward, I feel like some of them are going to notice.
I know my chat notices it. I know they notice it. They've called me out on it.
Oh, Mr.
He
J,
does. He actually does have a thicker accent, but he also grew up here.
Gotcha.
It's a little bit of a different. He grew up here. I did not, but he does have a thicker accent.
Hey, that's perfect.
A little Southern boy.
Well, Kia, before we sign off here, do you have anything else to add?
I don't, honestly, outside of the fact that I absolutely love and adore my community so much. And I will be live later today, so don't worry, guys. This is not the only live I'm doing, all right? I will be live later today with probably some Apex. I will probably be ranking, so there will be a lot of laughing at how horrible I am, okay? But yeah, so, and I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. If you don't celebrate it, Happy Holidays. But yeah, that's all I want to add. So yeah.
Hey, there you go. Well, everyone, thank you so much, Lilnoodz, for dropping a raid on us and everyone stopping by. I hope that you guys like the content we're putting out. I hope that if you have ideas on what to do going forward, please check out the website just to kind of see the placeholder on the other podcasts. We're on every audio platform you can find, plus our YouTube channel, Last Choice Network. I just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. We hope that you have a good rest of the 2022, and we will see you again in 2023 with a brand new look, not only here, but across a number of our podcast and our website. So with that being said, my name is James the Third on Facebook Gaming, and Kia Kane here. You can find on Twitch, of course.
Yes.
We hope you guys have a great rest of the year. Goodbye, everybody.
I'll send you guys.